This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us today. Our top story today at noon, more than a dozen brush fires along El Jobin Road in Charlotte County burned into the early hours this morning. The fires are believed to be the work of arsonists, and authorities now are looking for the people responsible. ABC 7's Marla Spence has an update.
The Florida Forest Service is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of an arsonist responsible for causing 13 brush fires in Charlotte County Sunday. Charlotte County Sheriff deputies say a suspicious older red four-door car with two males inside were seen in the area of the fires. According to a map on the Florida Forest Service website, all 13 fires were along El Jobin Road, also known as State Road 776. 9 of those fires were off 776 southwest of US 41, and 4 of them were northeast of US 41. Right now, all 13 fires are 100% contained, which means they are still active but can't spread. Officials with the Florida Forest Service says the number of fires continue to grow. Since the beginning of the month, there have been 20 wildfires, and 19 of them have been ruled suspicious.
So far, since January 1st, the activity has increased dramatically. We're at 40-some fires since the beginning of the year. And just to give a frame of reference, we had 8 this time last year, and we also go back to 2013 when we had 24. So we see a big uptick on wildfire right now.
Deputies with the Charlotte County Sheriff's Department are working with the Florida Forest Service. They are urging anyone with information to come forward. I'm Marla Spence reporting for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. New at noon, Manatee County Sheriff's deputies are investigating what led to a fatal overnight shooting in Palmetto. It happened on 33rd Street East, and when deputies arrived, they found 2 people had been shot. One man was already dead, while another was taken to a nearby hospital where he is expected to survive. Detectives say they have a suspect in the shooting, but no one has been charged yet. We'll have the latest on the story throughout our evening newscast beginning at 5. Northport Police and Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies are working with their underwater recovery force to check a body of water along Biscayne Drive. The search is part of an ongoing homicide investigation in the death of Trent Bartol Thomas. 1 arrest has already been made in this murder, but Northport Police believe others are involved. If anyone has additional information, contact Northport Police. In South Carolina, investigators say they've recovered a front-facing video camera from an Amtrak train involved in a fatal crash over the weekend. But they are still looking for the train's event data recorder. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has the latest now from South Carolina.
This morning, the NTSB back at the crash site in South Carolina, examining the mangled remains for answers. Investigators now looking for clues as to how this Amtrak train ended up on the wrong track, causing a head-on collision with a parked freight train.
We've had a train derailment at Charleston Highway and Pine Ridge Drive.
The impact killing the Amtrak engineer and conductor in the front engine and sending more than 100 of the 139 passengers flying.
I was thrown out of the chair and this was hurting and I couldn't get up.
The impact was bad and ripped my chair right off the floor.
It was early Sunday morning. The Amtrak train was heading to Miami from New York, passing through Columbia when, according to officials, the track was manually switched and lined and locked, which caused the Amtrak train to divert from the main line onto a side track, the same track where a CSX train was parked. At the time, we're told the Amtrak train was traveling between 50 and 60 miles an hour when it slammed into the freight train.
Finding out why that switch, that track switch, was set the way that it was, that will be key to this investigation.
According to Amtrak, CSX is in complete control of signaling and switching of the tracks where this crash happened. And as for CSX, well, they've offered condolences to the victims and their families, and for now they'll only say they are cooperating with the investigation. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
An update now out of Michigan. Former USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced for a 3rd and final time. A judge ruling that Nassar will serve an additional 40 to 125 years in prison for these latest charges against him involving a gymnastics facility in Michigan. The Michigan Attorney General's office says more than 265 women and girls have now reported abuse to law enforcement. Nassar's latest sentencing hearing focuses on 3 sexual assault charges, including more than 60 victim impact statements since the proceedings began last week. The judge in this case says the depth of Nassar's crimes is incomprehensible. Here in the Suncoast, a Bradenton neighborhood is on high alert after witnesses say a man tried to lure a 10-year-old girl into his car. The child's mother telling sheriff's investigators Rolando Bautista had driven past their home on 13th Street East in Bradenton several times. The little girl had been walking in the front yard to a neighbor's house when Bautista allegedly parked his car and told her to get in so they could go to the park. The girl instead ran to tell her mom. Witnesses confronted the suspect and detained him until deputies arrived. He was arrested and later released on bond. Facebook is releasing a statement about an explicit video that has been circulating the country and showing up on pages right here on the Suncoast. The video shows explicit sexual activities involving a child and has been circulating nationwide. Federal and state officials are now conducting what they call a very aggressive investigation. The problem is people have been sharing it, hoping to help catch the perpetrator. But investigators say that is not a good idea.
You're disseminating child porn, and that's a felony. If you are in possession of it, it is no matter your good intentions, it is also a felony. So in this case, it's very disturbing that people feel like it's okay to post something awful happening to a child on social media.
Facebook has responded to the investigation saying, quote, "We do not allow the sharing of child exploitive images on Facebook or Messenger, even to express outrage, regardless of intention. Sharing such imagery is harmful and illegal. When we become aware of such images, we remove them and notify the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We urge people never to share such content and to report it to local authorities immediately." Well, it's been a year since an ordinance banning the commercial sale of dogs and cats went into effect in Sarasota County, but some residents are asking why Petland is still selling dogs at its store off Fruitville Road in Sarasota. The puppy mill ordinance gave stores like Petland a 1-year grace period to continue selling the animals. Well, now we're past that deadline, but Petland has sued the county, claiming the ordinance is unconstitutional. The county filed a counterclaim, and now the courts will decide if the ordinance is enforceable. According to court documents, Petland claims it's a hobby breeder, but the county says the retailer sold 90 puppies per month back in 2015, too many to be put into that category.
Our shelters are full of stray dogs or dogs that need to be adopted. There's any kind of dog you can think of is in a shelter. If you want a specific breed, all you have to do is go online and look up rescues, and you can find everything from puppies up to seniors of that breed. They're out there. You don't need to be paying thousands of dollars for a possibly sick dog here at Petland.
Petland officials also tried to compare that situation to that of Sarasota County Animal Services, but the county argues its shelter does not operate for profit. A former Suncoast football star involved in one of the key plays behind the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl victory last night. Trey Burton played quarterback for Venice High School before going on to the Florida Gators. He threw a touchdown pass on 4th and goal to quarterback Nick Foles, which gave the team a 10-point halftime lead. Many Venice residents were keeping their eye on Burton throughout the game.
Even if you were not an Eagles fan or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're a Trey Burton fan and you want him to go bring home the championship.
Trey deserves all of it. You know, he comes back and he still is involved in our community and still is involved with our players on the team.
Brady and the Patriots came out firing in the second half, mostly to tight end Rob Gronkowski, who only had one catch in the first half. But the Eagles answered behind backup quarterback Nick Foles, who threw touchdown passes to Corey Clement and later to tight end Zach Ertz to build the lead eventually to 5 for the Eagles. Still, the Patriots had a chance with a little more than 2 minutes to go, and we've seen them come back from this before, but the Eagles defense stripped quarterback Tom Brady of the ball and then added a field goal to make it an 8-point game. The Eagles win their first Super Bowl 41-33, and former backup Nick Foles is MVP of the game with 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. The other big part of Super Bowl, of course, is the commercials. And an ad featuring Giants quarterback Eli Manning and receiver Odell Beckham Jr. scored the highest in a national survey. The commercial was a spoof of the iconic scene from the movie Dirty Dancing. It was supposed to show what other teams were doing that did not make the Super Bowl. We talked to a Suncoast marketing and advertising expert about last night's ads. He also liked this one the most, but said overall, none of the commercials last night will stand the test of time.
I don't think there was a big winner as a memorable commercial when we look ahead for another year. When people say, what are your top Super Bowl commercials, I don't think we'll see any of these in the top 5, quite frankly.
If you want to be important, wonderful.
Among the ads that scored the lowest was a commercial for a pickup truck that invoked the voice and message of slain civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. Many viewers took to Twitter to say it was disrespectful use of Dr. King's words and voice. Despite that, the overall night was, I think, a huge hit, and the game was remarkable. I know you didn't see any of it.
It's a little late in the night for me, yeah. I did watch Radar a couple of times during the night, though.
Go.
Yes, indeed.
It was raining.
It was active, yeah. Broke a all-time day record in Tampa for the amount of rainfall, and we were just on the cusp of seeing some of that very heavy rainfall around here. We got some pretty heavy rainfall at times, though. Half-inch rainfalls at times. And that led to the moisture that was around to support the dense fog advisory we had this morning. In fact, this is the Casey Key webcam put into motion, and you can see that heavy fog at times, kind of obscuring things. That dense fog lingered through the 9 o'clock hour, then kind of lifted, and right now all fog advisories, marine and on land, have been discontinued. Temperatures across the region generally hugging the 70 mark. Most everywhere you look will probably be in the mid-70s today, and all winds are out of the north across the area, signaling that the frontal boundary is south of us now. And we are in kind of a position of seeing some drier air filter in, making lower relative humidity and comfortable afternoon temperatures today. Our daytime high topping out about 74, 75 degrees. And then as we head into the evening hours, tapering off to around 60 by midnight. We'll see the winds shift, moisture return, and maybe some patchy fog tomorrow morning. Well, the forecast details coming up in a few.
All right, John, thank you. ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now with a check of the day on Wall Street so far, and it's already been a wild morning to start the new week on Wall Street.
It certainly has, but let me point out before we get a lot of phone calls, we did not call each other, and we're the blue shirt and the yellow tie, but we both look great. So what can I say about that? We look better than things look on Wall Street, to be quite honest with you. As Scott said, we had a wild morning. The Dow was down by 335 points at the low this morning. That on top of a 665-point loss on Friday. That was the biggest loss in 2 years. Remember the Brexit vote? Yes, that was even more damaging to Wall Street. But we'll see what the rest of the day brings. Right now, here's where things stand. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down just over 63 points. That's a lot better than down 355. Down 0.25%, 25,457.77. That on volume of 388 million shares. The NASDAQ is the only up arrow, and it's up by 2/100ths, but we'll take it. Up 2 points, 7,242.72. That on volume of 741 million shares. And the Standard & Poor's 500 index down by almost 0.3%, just over 6 points at 2,756.02. Well, Fed Chair Janet Yellen left her office on Friday, but she didn't leave without a big punishment for Wells Fargo. You may recall that Wells Fargo has been really having problems with its personnel, and according to Janet Yellen, quote, a cease and desist order which will stop the bank from growing. The bank has consistently had misconduct and also, quote, widespread consumer abuses. Put that all together, and the Fed really gave them the hammer. No question as to how long, or no sureness as to exactly how long this will take. But the bottom line is shares of Wells Fargo fell by more than 7% today, and the day is not over, and things at Wells Fargo are looking a bit gloomy. Not gloomy at all. We're going to have a meeting on Thursday of this week. We've been having conversations with the Stearns. It's been very popular. This week it's going to be Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Go to sternbear.com, or you can call 906-2847. Again, 906-2847. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about, including perhaps a wild stock market. Yes, indeed, that's exactly what we've been seeing. So we'll see where it goes, but we'd love to have you come talk about anything that you may want to talk about.
Okay. And we'll see you back here at 5.
And we'll match again.
Yes, we will. Yeah, okay. Well, good. Thanks, Richard.
You're welcome.
Still to come in your Suncoast News, why it's not too late for you to get a flu shot. Plus, where thrill seekers can find the world's longest zip line.
The ABC 7 Stock Report is brought to you by Sunset Cadillac.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Well, I knew that.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Nina, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Ray Collins. Go behind the scenes tomorrow with Sarasota Police and a virtual ride-along.
We'll tell you about their latest tweet from the beat featuring a K9 unit tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
So we're going to develop a string of beautiful days here on the Suncoast as high pressure builds in. That'll leave us with daytime temperatures that'll be spring-like.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke is a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7, weekdays starting at 5. Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
We love our viewer photos. This one was sent in by Kathy Ray. Really appreciate this. This photo shot at the Nokomis landfill actually shows a beautiful eagle lifting off of her nest. Great pictures. I put these pictures on my website, on my Facebook page rather, John Scalzi, ABC 7, along with the number of identified eagles' nests here on the Suncoast. What do you think that number might be? You'd be surprised. 69 degrees the air temperature. We have a little bit of cloud cover out there. Dew point coming in at 62. So the dew point value I think is going to be falling over the course of the day into the afternoon, probably into the 50s. That dew point value right there, of course, a signature of how much moisture there is in the air. With dew points in the 50s, it feels very comfortable and very dry. Even low 60s feels pretty good. 78% relative humidity. Winds out of the north-northeast coming in at about 10. I think as we progress into the afternoon, we'll see more and more of an easterly wind flow, and that will probably bring our nighttime dew point values back up and bring the moisture back into the picture, leading to perhaps a little patchy fog around tomorrow morning. Seasonably mild and dry with a daytime high temperature right now coming in around 74, 75 degrees. A little above average, but not a lot. By the time we get to tomorrow, though, we're going to be well above average for a daytime high. 67 degrees at about 7 o'clock tonight, a little mix of fair weather clouds. Should be a beautiful sunset, absolutely gorgeous sunset with that high pressure ridge building in from the west. Nice. 60 degrees by midnight, and then as you wake up tomorrow morning, 58, and there could be a little bit of patchy fog around. Watch the Futurecast. Remaining clouds go away this evening. Looks nice, maybe a few fair weather clouds around. Still, it should lead to a beautiful sunset. Winds becoming increasingly out of the east as we head into tonight. And then by tomorrow morning, I think we'll probably see just a little bit more of that fog around once again. But it shouldn't be as dense as it was this morning, nor will it linger quite as long. A little bit of sunshine in store for us today, that's for sure. The cloud cover that we have had kind of beginning to depart. High pressure building in behind a cold front that brought us all those rains yesterday, thunderstorms even, and some heavy rains at time. High pressure builds in today. That leads to a couple of days of some very nice weather, well above average for this time of year. Winds out of the northeast shifting more to the east tonight at about 10, light chop 2-foot seas or less. And the forecast looks like this. For today, 74 will daytime high. And then as we head into the next several days, this is the wrong 7-day forecast. Let me just tell you that the daytime high temperature will get up to about 80 degrees and hold there right straight through the week with very little rain chance in the forecast. Scott?
Okay, John, thank you. In HealthSmart, this year's flu season is rivaling the worst in recent years, and it's not over yet. The good news is you still have time to protect yourself. Many might be thinking there's no point in getting the flu shot now, but FDA officials say the seasonal flu vaccine is the best way to lower your risk of getting sick and then spreading it to others. Even though it's best to get vaccinated as soon as the flu shot is available, which is usually in September, getting the vaccine later can still be helpful. Every flu season is made up of varying strains of the virus, and this year's dominant strain has proven to be a challenge for this vaccine. But the flu shot is more effective for other strains that are still circulating this year. So get your flu shot if you haven't yet. Time now to head over to the kitchen and check in for the first time today with Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Hi, Judy.
Well, hi there, Scott. On a Monday, I figured let's lay out the week, see what it looks like weather-wise, temperature-wise, and something new and creative because Valentine's Day is on the way. I'm going to show you a dish that's perfect for 2 or for 20. This is just going to be really delicious, but some simple tricks. You know, somebody recently asked me, what makes a chef? And I would say true dedication and understanding the ingredients. So let's make life really simple with great smoked salmon, wonderful pasta, shells, and wait till you see our tricks of the trade to make it easy, and you'll really enjoy to serve this on Valentine's Day or any day. So stay with me. I'm coming back in a few minutes to start whipping up goodness.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in a car accident, the state of Florida only gives you a specific amount of time to file a claim. So act now, give us a call.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC 7 wherever you are. On our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC 7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC 7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are. Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
Caught on camera, a new zip line in the United Arab Emirates is now certified as the longest run in the world. It's on top of the highest mountain in the Middle Eastern nation. Thrill seekers that make the trek will reach speeds of up to 93 miles an hour over the nearly 2-mile-long zip line. Adrenaline junkies, though, are advised to make a reservation, as this zip line can only accommodate one rider every 5 minutes. But look at it go. That's awesome. Crew members aboard an Australian ferry fished a wallaby out of Sydney Harbor. They looped a rope around her body and used the tail to pull her aboard the ferry. A wallaby is similar to a kangaroo, but a little smaller. This isn't the first wayward wallaby spotted in Sydney. Earlier this month, another caused a traffic jam while it was hopping across the harbor bridge. Glad they got her out of that to safety. Let's go over to the kitchen now and hop over the kitchen, I was going to say, but here's Judy Gallagher with more.
Okay, Scott, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I have a little seasoned butter. You can use regular straight salted butter. And I have 2 shallots that have been chopped up. We're going to saute that lightly till it's translucent, which means that it's tender, but you don't want to get it brown. So that's going to be a good flavor component in this dish. Now, I was at the farmer's market the week before last, and I picked up double from Peperonata Pasta. Always a great stop when you get fresh pasta. So got the jumbo shells, so that's going to be worked on. Last week, in preparation of the Super Bowl, I cooked up some lobsters from Lots of Lobster to put some lobster meat on the macaroni and cheese side, as well as Philly cheesesteak, and we know how that worked out. So I saved the shells and I actually made my own lobster stock. So this is going to be really important for a flavor profile, but don't worry if you don't have lobster stock, because what we're doing today is I bought a lobster bisque over at the Fresh Market. So that's going to be our underlying sauce. So let's move this out of the way and let's get started with the ricotta cheese. We're going to add an egg, and what the egg does is it really makes it very fluffy, and that's what we want. We want a light filling, just like if you're making manicotti or lasagna. Okay, so we'll give that a little stir, and then I have some smoked salmon spread. Now, budget-wise, this is going to help because I'm using that Duck Trap smoked salmon, which you can find in most gourmet markets, and it's really a good product. So to cut the cost a little bit, we can add this mixture of the smoked salmon spread. So that has the cream cheese in it that's going to give it some good flavor, right? So we'll do that. We'll add some salt and pepper, balancing out the seasoning, because we do know that smoked salmon generally has a fair amount of salt in it. So there we go with Duck Trap smoked salmon, 1 package, and we're going to whip that in as well, okay? We're going to check on the shallots, and they are just about done. So when they're done, we're going to pull the pan off away from the burner just for a moment. I'm going to deglaze the pan with my lobster stock. You do not need this process, or you can even use milk if you want for a balance with that flavor. Now, when we come back, we'll add the cheeses, some fresh chopped spinach, and we will start stuffing the shells. It's delicious, and you're going to want to make this dish often, but hold it down for Valentine's Day. This is a good one.
So Matt told me to meet him at 7 a.m. sharp right here. It is now 7:01 a.m. You think Matt would leave without me? Hey, is Matt here?
Long gone.
Long gone.
Just missed him.
Just missed him.
All done.
Mr. Sparky guarantees they're on time and the repair is free, so chop chop.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Matt, you started without me.
I finished without you, too.
You shop around for the best prices on everyday products. But when it comes to your health care,
Nobody has any idea what things cost.
Doctors and hospitals within blocks of each other charging different prices for the same procedure.
That doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense.
Investigator Lee Zarek exposes a secret some medical professionals don't want you to know and shows you how to put the purchasing power back in your hands. Costly Care, an ABC 7 investigation tonight at 6.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC 7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC 7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Coming up, will the Democrats release a rebuttal to last week's controversial GOP memo? Plus, Governor Scott is in Puerto Rico today to talk about recovery efforts there and how the recent cold weather is affecting Florida's manatees.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. Our top story this half hour. Washington is bracing for a battle over memos this week, while President Trump is touting the Republican memo released last week shows abuse of power at the FBI. ABC's Tara Palmieri has more as Democrats say they have a memo of their own that they're ready to release.
President Trump waged a campaign against his own Justice Department this weekend, accusing them of bias in the Russia investigation. Tweeting lines from a Wall Street Journal op-ed, he accused the FBI of being, quote, a tool of anti-Trump political actors. He's basing these attacks on a memo released by congressional Republicans last week. That memo claims that the FBI obtained a warrant to spy on his former campaign aide, Carter Page, based on a dossier funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign. But not all Republicans are buying it.
So you don't agree with President Trump when he says this vindicates him in the entire Russia investigation?
I don't. Bob Mueller should be allowed to turn over every rock.
Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff vowed to release a counter memo.
The interest wasn't oversight. The interest was a political hit job on the FBI in the service of the president.
That put Schiff in the line of fire. President Trump tweeted this morning, quote, little Adam Schiff, who is desperate to run for higher office, is one of the biggest liars and leakers in Washington.
Meanwhile, the man behind the memo, House Intel Chairman Devin Nunes, says they're not done looking for abuses of power in the investigation. Up next, he says they're looking at irregularities at the State Department. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
The father of Otto Warmbier, the American man who was jailed in North Korea, plans to attend the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics in South Korea as a guest of Vice President Mike Pence. The Warmbiers also attended President Trump's first State of the Union as guest of the President and First Lady. Otto died last year upon his return to the United States after suffering extensive brain damage while in custody in North Korea. Warmbier said his son was systematically tortured by the regime of Kim Jong-un. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will meet with Peru's president and foreign minister today. The secretary will talk about many issues, including preparations for a successful summit of the Americas. This is part of Tillerson's ongoing trip across Latin America, which is expected to continue through Wednesday. And it was arguably the most concrete symbol of the Cold War, and today marks a notable anniversary of the history of the Berlin Wall. February 5th is the day when the Berlin Wall has been gone as long as it has stood, 28 years, 2 months, and 26 days. Construction on what would become the Berlin Wall began in August of 1961, separating West Berlin from communist East Berlin. Its destruction, allowing free passage between the two halves of the city, would not happen until November of 1989. Let's get to our weather now with meteorologist John Scalzi, and we start a new week with some nice weather after last night's rain.
Yes.
6/10 at my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people got similar amounts,
Yeah.
half an inch or better. Some people only got a couple of hundredths of an inch. Some people got tenths of an inch. But certainly for this time of year, it's nice to get that.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy to get 2 Sundays in a row with record-breaking rainfalls across the state of Florida. So that's kind of impressive. Led to a wet ground, of course, which led to some fog around this morning. There's your Lakewood Ranch webcam. We'll put it into motion. You can see how thick the fog was at times at Lakewood Ranch. That kind of lifted, leaving us with a little low-hanging cloud from time to time. We got a front that's moving through even as I speak. It's just to our south, and it's led to a little bit of cloud cover over us. But still, the temperatures, despite that northerly flow of air now that we've got since the front is to our south, is still pretty nice out there. 71 degrees, 72 degrees. That's actually about our average for this time of year, but we'll get into a lot more sun this afternoon, and that's going to bump up our temperatures a few degrees above the average. Tomorrow, it'll be even warmer. We'll be looking at temperatures that are significantly above average. So about 3 p.m., we'll go with about 74, 75 degrees, somewhere in there. Then as we head into the 7 o'clock hour under partly cloudy skies and a beautiful sunset having just finished, we'll look at 67, 60 by around midnight tonight. We'll have the complete forecast for you coming up in a few, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Happening today, Governor Rick Scott will travel to Puerto Rico to offer help with Hurricane Maria recovery efforts there. He'll be meeting with Puerto Rico's governor, emergency management officials, and visiting utility line workers from Florida on the island. Governor Scott says he's proud of the work Florida has done to help Puerto Rico, and state officials will continue to do all they can to make sure they have the resources to get back on their feet. Since Maria hit the island in September, the majority of the island has regained power, but full recovery of the electrical grid is not expected until sometime later this month. Governor Scott is calling on a series of improvements to help with disaster evacuations here at home. The directives are in response to the 6 million people who evacuated Florida ahead of Hurricane Irma. Drivers spend up to 12 hours on routes that are typically covered in 6 to 7 hours. Governor Scott wants the Department of Transportation to expand emergency shoulder use along key interstates, as well as new cameras and message signs along I-75 from Ocala north to the Georgia state line. Work on those improvements is expected to start immediately. Also happening in Florida, a new report shows 35 manatees died as a result of January's cold weather. Florida Fish and Wildlife reports the deaths were recorded between January 1st and January 26th and are 5 times as many deaths as compared to the same time last year. All of them died from what's called cold stress syndrome, which can happen when manatees and other marine mammals encounter water below the 68-degree mark for an extended period of time. The Coast Guard is celebrating what it's calling a major win in the war on drugs. Last December, the Coast Guard seized $47 million worth of cocaine during 2 busts off the coast of Puerto Rico. The 2-ton haul arrived in St. Petersburg over the weekend. In South Florida, a disgruntled employee is caught on surveillance video throwing hot water into a man's face. She says she was upset over a recent meeting with him and 2 other supervisors.
I was in shock. I crouched down and felt my skin sizzling.
Despite those burns, you can see Salcido chase after the woman, trying to hold her down and yelling at those nearby to call police. But the woman managed to leave and was later arrested at her home, according to police. Salcido suffered 2nd-degree burns, but says he does forgive her. Developing overnight, 6 people are hurt after a car struck pedestrians in Miami Beach. Police say a suspected drunk driver is behind the crash. The driver and 5 pedestrians were taken to a local hospital. 2 small children were among those hit. According to investigators, the pedestrians were on a sidewalk when the driver jumped the curb and then hit them. A Florida man is in jail accused of threatening to kidnap pop singer Lana Del Rey before a concert. In a statement posted Saturday on Twitter, Orlando police say officers arrested Michael Sean Hunt on Friday night outside the Amway Center where Del Rey was performing. Police say they received a tip about Hunt making a possible kidnapping threat to the singer, whose real name is Elizabeth Grant. Hunt says he's innocent.
I was surrounded by a bunch of detectives and officers and put in handcuffs and brutally forced into a situation and put in the back of a vehicle. Nobody explaining anything to me whatsoever.
Police said Hunt was carrying a ticket to the concert and a knife when he was arrested about a block away from the venue. Hunt is being held without bail on charges of attempted kidnapping with a weapon and aggravated stalking with a credible threat. Happening today, a massive moving effort at the State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota. It's called a book brigade. At the school's Bradenton campus this morning, students and staff moving books from FCF's old library to its new learning center, which features high-tech resources for students to use. The ribbon-cutting ceremony for this new facility is just over 2 weeks away on February 22nd, but that's some great teamwork there at SCF today. And happening right now, the Selby Public Library in downtown Sarasota wrapping up a career fair. The library hosting that fair this morning for more than 200 students from Booker High and Sarasota Military Academy. The career fair gave students the opportunity to ask local professionals about their careers and the challenges they face. Back to the kitchen now and check in with ABC7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher, who has something delicious for us today on this Monday. Judy?
So we're playing the shell game today. We've taken the ricotta cheese, added 1 egg, the smoked salmon spread, and the chopped smoked salmon. Now I'm going to add a pretty healthy handful of freshly grated mozzarella cheese and just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. This is probably one of the only times you're going to see me where I mix any type of seafood in with dairy. I'm not usually a huge fan other than cream, you know, to use it this style, but this dish just screams that it marries well together. So you have all those different cheeses, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in some fresh chopped organic spinach. Even if it says washed on the container, always rewash it and pat it dry well. Okay, so we give it a good stir. We'll have a little bit of spinach left over we can make a salad out of. So now you're going to take a casserole dish or a pie plate, and what I did was on the base of it, instead of making a homemade lobster sauce, which you have to make the roux and all those steps, I bought some lobster bisque. So this is going to work really flavorfully well and save me a minimum of an hour prep on the other side of the sauce. So take those shells, stuff them. Little trick if you want to add some chopped shrimp into it or any other type of seafood that you want to combine it with. Crab meat would be very good. I'm a purist. I just like the smoked salmon. I love this balance of, and remember, smoked salmon spread will really help make it extra creamy because it has that cream cheese in it. So we load the shells up. You don't want them overflowing though, because we're still going to top it with a teeny bit of the lobster bisque and a little bit more cheese. Season with salt and pepper. It's going to go in the oven uncovered for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to put just a little drizzle of the lobster bisque on top and make that beautiful sauce. And then we'll top it with a little Parmesan cheese. Fresh minced chives will bring it over the top, and a little dill. We'll come back in a few minutes and we'll see what John Scalzi has to say about this dish.
At Tidewell Hospice, we know it's never too late to say thank you to our military veterans. The Tidewell Honors Veterans Program has provided care to more than 13,000 military families since 2008. Tidewell volunteers help honor veterans through special pinning ceremonies that demonstrate our appreciation for the freedom our veterans fought to defend. If you know a veteran who can benefit from end-of-life care, call or visit tidewell.org today. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Everyone likes the 2018 Honda Civic for $169 a month. You made Civic the best-selling compact car in America. You'll like Civic's 5-star safety ratings and that KBB.com named Civic a Best Buy and the most awarded car. Get the 2018 Civic at a payment you'll love. $169 a month today at your local Honda dealer.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5. ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we have a temperature that's very pleasant outside at 71 degrees. We have a dew point value down already a couple of degrees since we've been with you on this broadcast. We have a little bit of cloud cover out there caused by a frontal boundary sinking southward and an east wind now developing at about 9. We're looking at a temperature of probably about 74 degrees by the time we hit 3 p.m. I have a mix of sun and clouds, but certainly a lot more sunshine than we have now, boosting our temperature up another couple of degrees. By 7 p.m., look for 67. The humidity will start to come back just a little bit, I think, tonight, but the winds will continue out of the east, and I think it'll be a pretty nice evening. Should be a beautiful sunset with a little bit of fair weather cloudiness around and otherwise a nice deep blue sky behind those clouds. Should be nice. We're looking for 60 degrees by midnight. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, 58 degrees, and there could be a little bit of patchy fog around tomorrow morning as well. There's a little bit of cloud cover sinking southward. Lots of blue sky back behind it, though, and that will be in our forecast as we head into the afternoon. We don't have a whole lot in the way of any kind of rain clouds left. There were a few scattered showers earlier on down around the Florida Straits, but nothing here locally. Little clipper system moving across the United States. The area of low pressure and the showers stretching down that frontal boundary sinking southward. But for us today, not a lot of problems. High pressure builds in, winds initially out of the northeast, shifting today to the east as we head into the next couple of days. We'll watch the tail end of that front lift back north as a warm front triggering showers throughout the deep south. That'll be tomorrow and the day after. So if you are traveling, say, to the Atlanta airport a little bit later on this week, there could be some thunderstorm activity, especially on Wednesday. So mostly sunny, lower in humidity, and warm right straight through the week ahead. Here's your thunderstorm outlook. We just don't have any thunderstorms around here. It'll be a very quiet period as we head into the next several days. North wind at about 10, shifting to the east overnight. That's increasing the humidity so that by dawn tomorrow, we'll probably have a shower or two. 2-foot seas, light chop on bay and inland waters. And here's your 7-day forecast. Today we'll top it out at about 75 or so with an overnight low of about 57. And as I mentioned, just a little bit of patchy fog around. Over the next several days, we continue to warm nicely. In fact, we'll be well above average as we head into Wednesday. About 81 degrees then. Overnight lows continue to rise as well. Next chance of rain really doesn't come until the weekend when we'll have about a 20% chance of showers. That's it. And that's because of a series of little fronts that will be moving through. One front over the weekend, triggering off a shower or two. Another front probably on Wednesday into Thursday, bringing us a little bit more cloud cover, but not too terribly bad. Certainly no rain showers. And some drier air in store for us on Friday after that front moves through. By the way, if tomorrow you're heading over to Kennedy Space Center, perhaps, you're one of the lucky ones going over there to watch the launch, should be just fine. Weather will be looking at partly cloudy skies over there and an afternoon temperature in the 70s. And don't forget, you have to get to the parking spaces if you have purchased your tickets ahead of time by 11:30. In the morning to see that 1:30 launch. Here, I think it should be just fine. Probably sky cover not more than about 30%. Should be good viewing. I know Scott Dennis will be out there looking at it, won't you, Scott?
Absolutely. 1:30 set for tomorrow. In consumer news, a surprise twist in what was South Korea's trial of the century. An appeals court has suspended the sentence of former Samsung chief J.Y. Lee. Lee walked out of jail earlier today to be processed out less than a year after being sentenced for bribery and corruption. He was originally sentenced to 5 years in prison. Lee's case put a spotlight on corrupt deals between huge companies and South Korea's government. One of the last Blockbuster video stores in the U.S. is closing its doors for good. The last Blockbuster franchise in Texas will close later this month. The closure leaves just one franchise in Oregon and then a handful of stores still open in Alaska. At one time in the 1990s, the video renting chain had nearly 9,000 stores across the country, many here on the Suncoast. Now Blockbuster is down to less than 10 stores across the country. Still to come in your Suncoast News, more on the popular New York Zoo's unique alternative to the Super Bowl. You want to see what we have from these penguins right after this.
SRQ Performance Parts provides parts and accessories from over 300 manufacturers, so you can get that new manifold, carburetor, gasket, bolt kit, or nitrous oxide system fast. We'll help you beat the competition. Call or visit SRQ Performance Parts online today for all your high-performance parts and advice.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Well, I do that.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Nina, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
Our accolades are great. Just wait until you see our prices. Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Okay, so we drowned the fire.
Yep.
Stirred it. Drowned it again. And now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. Already posted it.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
In life after the military, it's our duty as veterans to have each other's back. I'm retired Colonel Greg Gatson, and it's my mission to help you get the benefits and services you've earned. If you need to file a VA claim, remember these important steps. Submit an online claim through ebenefits.va.gov. Work with an accredited Veteran Service Organization, or VSO. And if you need to attend a VA claim exam, please go. Visit this website to learn what to expect.
Don't miss Costly Care, an ABC7 investigation tonight at 6.
Okay, I can't wait to try this. This is awesome.
It's really creamy, it's decadent, but it balances, right? The cheeses with the smoked salmon. Good.
I'll tell you what, that really is awesome. Now, for a lot of people, I think it might be surprising to fill a pasta dish with a white sauce and
know,
salmon, right?
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
I remember years ago you asked me to make salmon lasagna. You came over to my house when we shot this segment there, and I know you like it, so I thought, John will love this. You can add diced shrimp, lobster, anything you really want, but man, this is the ultimate.
It's a really nice recipe.
Creamy and fresh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really good stuff. And there's your final product, all baked up and ready to go. I'll tell you what, it looks good. Recipe for it's on our website, mysuncoast.com. Go on there, check it out. Give you all the video instructions, the shopping list. And Judy, excellent recipe here.
Thank you, sir.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Scott?
Thank you both. Finally today, the Eagles and the Patriots were not the only ones facing off yesterday. For the first time, the Binghamton Zoo in New York hosted its very own Penguin Bowl. The African penguins took turns kicking the football around their own field, and they had an audience watching them live on Facebook. The zoo also collected more than $300 in donations during the event, and they say they plan on hosting a similar one next year. So there's the Super Bowl, there's the Puppy Bowl, and now the Penguin Bowl, I guess. They are cute.
We'll have the Manatee Bowl next.
Yeah, it's coming, no doubt. I'm anxious to go home and watch the game on TiVo. I've just heard so many great things about it. What a great game it was.
It was a great game. Both sides played very well.
I can't watch a game when I already know the outcome, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I know. But
Nobody
you know what?
tell John. Nobody tell John what happened.
If it had to work out that way, I think it's kind of neat that the underdogs won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a heck of a game, I'll tell you that. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day ahead, and we invite you back at 5 o'clock. Hope to see you then.